about today are school grounds, and I've already kind of mentioned to a couple of people here today that this is what I was going to talk about, and they were kind of, well, what are you going to talk about school grounds? So let me show you. First of all, I don't know about you, but if I think back to my school grounds, I think it was a place where I made friends, had a great time. It was a really positive experience. And it was also a place where maybe you played traditional games. I don't know how many of you played British Bulldog or weren't allowed to play British Bulldog, or maybe again were allowed to play British Bulldog. All those kind of things, hopscotch, all those kind of things. Still fantastic things that took place in school grounds. And as I got older, I got more and more interested in sport. So for me, school grounds were all about the sports facilities. And then I ended up being a PE teacher. So as far as I was concerned, school grounds were about sport. And I think for a lot of people, that's probably true. But for a lot of children today, they don't have access to the spaces we had as children, my generation had, and generations before had as children. They haven't got free access to roam. There's been a lot of research about how far children are allowed to go beyond the boundaries of their home gates, and it's not very far these days. So the school grounds is one place that they can have freedom to roam. It's a place they have a chance to be able to get in contact with nature. And again, there's a lot of work being going on all around the world saying that children have enough opportunities to have contact with nature, and the importance of having contact with nature for health, for mental health, for physical well-being. And I put this in, and I'm now thinking there are a lot of people here who weren't born in this country and therefore probably didn't grow up in this country and maybe don't know what is going on here. And this is conkers. If you don't know what conkers is, please ask somebody who played it as a child here. But it's been something that people have been told has been banned in schools. You're not allowed to play conkers in school grounds, it's much too dangerous. I like to put this image in to show that that's not the case, that you can still play conkers. And it's one of those traditional games that gets passed from generation to generation. And the best place to pass that through the generations is in the school grounds. School grounds can also be a really great environment. They can be fantastic places and beautiful places to spend time in, but not all schools are. But what I want to do is show you what some schools have done, mainly in this country, but around the world as well, to make their places, their outside spaces, their schools, great places for children to spend time in. So let's think about play, first of all. And these two images show fantastic play within school grounds. I don't know how many of you had school grounds like this when you were at school, but this is possible. And you can see people worry about health and safety. They worry about children getting hurt. But children don't want to get hurt. They don't go out with the intention of hurting themselves when they play. And as you can see from the child on the left there, that child doesn't have the confidence to jump off that end of that log on their own. So they're getting support from an adult, from a member of staff. Whereas the boy on the right, he obviously has a lot of confidence. He's done that before, and he's got the real joy and excitement of taking that leap into the air. You don't need fantastic equipment outside to make play brilliant outdoors. You can see here, we've got a few straw bales, some drain pipes, a bit of guttering, a bit of rope. And if you're given those things, then creative play really takes place. So with the similar sort of equipment, these kids have made a fantastic space that is all their own. If you think back to your childhood den building, this is what it's doing. But it's not just about play, they don't realise it, but they're learning at the same time. And after all, that's what schools are about. So they did a lot to get this den to this place. First of all, they got together as a team, and you'll notice boys and girls playing together. And that doesn't often happen in school grounds, but it does when they're given these types of opportunities for creative play. They had to work out where they wanted to build their den. They had to work out what equipment, what resources they were going to need. There was a huge stack for them to choose from, and they had to decide what they wanted. There's a good bit of engineering there, those of you who are engineers, to make that post stand up. They had to make sure that they got that right-sized log wedged in there to make that stand up. They also looked at comfort. They've got some seating there, so they're not sitting on the ground. So lots of learning going on there. They don't know it, they're just having a great time. And having this kind of range of equipment there leads to really creative play. Child on the left in there, there's a little boy in there, And he's learning, I'm not sure I should use the term, but he's learning how to be a stalker. But he's learning about stalking. He's learning about how to watch other people and trying to hide and thinking that nobody's spotted him there. Of course we all have. And I don't need to tell you, but this is a dinosaur's nest. That's obvious. I know it's a dinosaur's nest because she told me, but those are dinosaurs' eggs there. But she had very simple equipment. We all know about that idea of the box that the toy comes in being more interesting than the toy itself. Well, here we've got very simple equipment, and she's been really creative with her play. But sometimes you also need spaces to be on your own. You need space to get away, to chill out. And this is one of the things that people who say accidents happen in school grounds, and if you create things there, you'll get more accidents. But actually, no, you'll have fewer. Because if you haven't got space to get away, all you've got to do is run around and get in each other's way. So a space to chill out and find and relax. And that can be with friends as well. And the sensory experiences that these children are having, the sun, if it was out, on their faces, the feel of those different textures on their backs, and they're sharing that experience with their friends. And here at this school, this is all about sensory experiences as well. This is a school, new build school, and this is an interactive sculpture. Inside the sculpture, there are a series of mirrors. And if you look through one window, you don't see straight out the other side. Chances are that they're actually seeing each other through there. It's a bit like, you see the mirrors go around corners, and you see signs in spaces and places you don't expect. So really getting the children engaged in what's going on around them. School grounds don't have to be fantastically designed to be great places to learn. You need great teachers. You need creative thinkers. And so here, these children are learning all about how the sun appears to move in the sky and the length of shadows and how they change during the day. You could learn that from the textbooks, but actually you learn it more by experiencing it. So they'll go out at different times of day and see how that shadow changes. Here, a bit of rocket science. All you need is a bit of space. You build up the water pressure, you build up the air pressure in that bottle, got a bit of water in it, and at one point it builds too much and off it will go. So you're learning by doing it and experiencing it. If you've got a playground and you haven't got a river in your school grounds, not many schools do, some do, but not many, you could create a river in your own school grounds. And because this is quite a big thing to do in school grounds, the whole teaching staff at this school come together and think, how are we going to use that resource that we're going to have in school for maybe a week for teaching throughout the curriculum? So it forces the teachers really, gets them to be creative. And if you've got space, I show this a lot to primary teachers and they go, oh, can't do that in our school grounds. But why not? You've got the space in school grounds to have a fire. This is the Fire of London. The children build, as part of their history lessons, they build all the houses and then the head teacher sets fire to it. But if you do have grounds that have been created and developed well, then you can do more. So here we've got a school that is on a slope, so they're looking at irrigation systems to water their flower beds. So it's thinking if you've got the facilities, there's even more you can do. Here you've got a school which have got their own amphitheatre. And so you can bring an actor in. You can get the whole school sitting around, listening to the Pied Piper tale. They can then become the children of Hamlin who get led away into the woodlands on that school site. They become part of the learning experience. A lot of schools like to think about bringing wildlife into their school grounds, which is fantastic. Secondary schools as well as primary schools, as you can see from this image. But what is important is that the children have access to that wildlife too. It's no good just creating wildlife habitats if you can't then get in and see the nature as well. So here we have a bird hide so that you can actually get in contact and see that nature in your grounds. But it's not just about wildlife and grounds, there's lots of other things that you can do, lots of other ways of taking teaching outside. Boys notoriously known for being bad at reading and not liking reading. Actually, a simple thing of going outside can help them to engage with reading better. So here they are reading to the girls, a special storytelling space. In this school, another space, this is just outside the library. So you take the reading straight outside and you learn and engage the children outdoors as well. A lovely space to be, good space to spend time with. And at this school, they've been inspired by their grounds to create poems, to write poems. So you have here the poppies next to me infested with bees, climbing delicately from flower to flower. getting the sugar-sweet nectar, savouring every last drop. And you get wonderful creative writing because that child has been out in that space and seen it happen. They haven't just seen pictures in a book, they've felt it, they've been there, they've engaged. Again, another different experience. Children walking around a labyrinth, being really peaceful in their grounds, thinking about different things they've got. Along the way, there are a set of cards with just different things to think about as they go around. And so they're really engaging, and you've got, being accompanied by cellists, but they create that labyrinth in their grounds and enjoy that experience. Some experiences can't be learnt inside. Some things just don't work. You can read about road safety in a book. You can go out and you can be on the road, but it's great to have that kind of step in the middle, that you have a go and you learn yourself and you're in control. You're the lollipop man in the middle of the road, stopping the children and making sure it's safe for them to cross. At this school, horticulture is a big topic. It's a really important thing that we hear about children not knowing where their food comes from. Well, how much better than to actually grow it yourself? You're much more likely to eat it if you've grown it yourself as well. So if you have children who aren't very good at eating their greens, get them to grow them. They're much more likely to have a go. And the pride that children get when they've grown it themselves, you can see it in the faces of those children. They're really proud about what they have done and that variety of food that they've grown. But how much better if you can take that experience of growing your own fruit and veg and actually cooking it in your school grounds. So here, this school's created a pizza oven. And actually, we're getting a lot of interest in a lot of schools talking about using cob ovens and building ovens in their school grounds. It seems to be the thing at the moment. But why not have your own pizza? You grow all the bits of your pizza, grow the wheat in your school grounds, grow the tomatoes, all the herbs, all those kind of things, and cook them in your own pizza oven. But obviously not every school has the space to have their own pizza oven. So instead, perhaps you want to create a solar oven. And these children at this school, they created a series of different sorts of solar ovens to see which was going to be most effective. So there's fantastic learning going on, but again, it's a learning that you're engaged with, you're involved with, you're part of that learning experience. It's just not reading it straight out of a book. One of the other things that is really important is engaging children in the process of developing and creating their own spaces. This is a school in London where they were lucky enough to receive some funding to develop their grounds. But what was important about it was that the children were very engaged and involved in that process. You can see where they think the best places for trees to go are going to be in their school grounds. So they've worked out, what do we want to be able to do in our school grounds? So we want to be able to sit under the shade of a tree. Where's the best places to put them? So it's thinking about them getting engaged in the development of their space. And then they may be involved in working with an artist at this school. They work with an Aboriginal artist. This is a school in Australia. And they came in, and every child in the school made a ceramic tile that fits into that mural on the way out into the school grounds. So it's their school grounds, it's their mural, it belongs to them. And here is a school in South Africa where children are bringing water from home. It's a really valuable resource. So they're bringing it from home, they're kind of wastewater that they're not using, bringing it in and watering these new trees in their school grounds. So school grounds can be developed in so many different ways. They can be spectacular, wonderful developments like this one. If you've got the funds, marvellous, brilliant to do. And a beautiful space, a wonderful place to spend time in. I was a PE teacher by training, as I mentioned before, and so I know it's really important that those other spaces are kept as well. So don't worry, they have got some sports facilities as well, any of you who are keen on that. But they also have this fantastic space to spend time in, to learn in, to play in, just to be in. But it's about small changes too. These kind of activities, hands-on learning, getting in, getting muddy, are really important. So going back to my original question, what are school grounds good for? Well, they're good for the children who spend, as much as 25% of their time in them. They're great places for those children to be, and also maybe for the staff who work with them too. Thank you very much.